Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jamie Holmes. Ann has the night off. The Steuben County Sheriff's Office wants to make sure everyone makes it to the table this Thanksgiving. Big Fox's Josh Feldberg tells us what the Sheriff's Office is doing to crack down on impaired driving this Thanksgiving.
According to AAA, more than 50 million people will travel 50 miles or more to a Thanksgiving celebration this week. With Thanksgiving kicking off a very merry time of year, the Steuben County Sheriff's Department wants you to remember buzzed driving is drunk driving. If your plans to celebrate the holidays include alcohol, plan for a sober driver. Drunk driving-related crashes spike during the holiday season according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. 185 people were killed in crashes during the 2020 Thanksgiving period. In a statement, Sheriff Allard said, "We know friends and families will be especially excited to gather around the Thanksgiving table this year. Unfortunately, drunk driving is a real threat to our community, and that threat increases during holidays like Thanksgiving. Driving drunk is deadly and illegal, and no one should ever take that risk." Sheriff Allard offered suggestions on how you can keep yourself and others safe. Even if you've had one alcoholic beverage, designate a sober driver or plan to use a ride service, taxi, or call a sober friend. If you see a drunk driver on the road, contact 911. And if you have a friend that is about to drink and drive, take the keys away from them and find arrangements to make sure your friend gets home safe. Sheriff Allard told Big Fox, "Let's enjoy the holidays, be thankful for what we have, and don't let this week end in tragedy." Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Steuben County.
The American Farm Bureau says this year's Thanksgiving meal could be the most expensive ever. Grady Trimble is in the kitchen with a look at the increases gobbling up budgets.
Hi there, and happy Thanksgiving to you. Unfortunately, I am the bearer of bad news this morning, and that's because inflation is hitting your Turkey Day meal. The American Farm Bureau Federation says you'll pay about 20% more for your Thanksgiving meal this year compared to last year. Big part of that is because the price of a 16-pound turkey, the centerpiece of most people's Thanksgiving meal, has gone up quite a bit, 21% from just last year. You can see we spared no expenses on our graphics today, going all out here to bring you this story. The item that has been hit the hardest by inflation, interestingly enough, is stuffing mix. A 14-ounce bag of that will cost you $3.88 this year. That's almost a 70% increase from a year ago. You got to have sweet potato casserole. We've got ours here with the nicely browned marshmallows. A 3-pound bag of sweet potatoes will run you $3.96, an 11% increase from a year ago. Head on over down the spread to our dinner rolls. A dozen of those goes for $3.73, a 22% increase from last year. And finally, time for dessert. Pumpkin pie costs you $4.28. That's an 18% increase from last year. The American Farm Bureau Federation says the overall cost to feed 10 people this Thanksgiving is about $64 or $6.50 per person, although some people think that's low, but they have secret shoppers who go out and check the prices on all of these items. I feel like a bit of a Debbie Downer, so I'll end with the good news, and that is that a 12-ounce bag of fresh cranberries has actually gone down in price from a year ago. Down about 14% from 2021. Most important thing, though, is that you spend your Thanksgiving with your family and friends, and that is priceless. Timer's going off, so I will send it back to you. In Naperville, Illinois, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
Let's take a look now at gas prices in the area before you hit the road. According to AAA, the state average is $3.82 a gallon. That's actually down 6 cents from a week ago. And Elmira prices lower than the state average at $3.65. That's down 10 cents from last week. Broome County has the highest prices in the region, though, at $3.78 a gallon. Governor Hochul speaking more on her 2 new laws aimed at preventing hate crimes. The governor signed that legislation in New York City Tuesday. It happened just days after 2 men were arrested at Penn Station in the city for making threats against the Jewish community. And on Tuesday, a man was arrested for throwing bricks on at least 3 separate occasions at the same gay bar in the city.
This is what we're trying to do, capture the hearts and minds before people are radicalized on social media and go down a different path.
Hochul also announced other efforts to combat hate crime. She says by next month, all 62 counties in the state will be required to submit a domestic terrorism prevention plan to the state's Department of Homeland Security. President Biden has once again ordered a pause in student loan repayments. That gives borrowers another reprieve as the administration's loan forgiveness program has been tied up in legal battles. As Doug Luzader reports from Washington, this may all come down to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Well, this decision buys time for borrowers, but it may also buy time for the Supreme Court to decide whether the president has exceeded his authority.
I'm completely confident my plan is legal.
President Biden took to Twitter to defend his student loan bailout program and offer another extension to borrowers while his appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court percolates.
It isn't fair to ask tens of millions of borrowers eligible for relief to resume their student debt payments while the courts consider the lawsuit.
It is a major reversal for the president, who had said that the COVID-era program to pause payments would stop at the end of the year. Now that could be extended to as late as September next year, depending on when the Supreme Court weighs in. Biden is counting on the high court to sign off on his larger plan to forgive as much as $20,000 of student loan debt for many borrowers, a plan that has been put on hold by a federal court.
I don't know how a court could just seriously agree that any president had the power to write off $500 billion of student loans based on a war provision from 9/11.
Many Republicans say the forgiveness program is deeply unfair to taxpayers who are left holding the bag and to those who paid off their loans or didn't attend college.
The Biden administration decided to insult working Americans by unleashing yet another reckless giveaway that would actually transfer even more wealth toward highly educated people who already tend to be more well off.
And this really comes down to whether this is constitutional. Can the president do this without authorization from Congress? It's estimated to cost taxpayers $400 billion. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
TikTok is facing more scrutiny from Congress over possibilities the company may have misled Congress on data sharing. Republican House members Kathy McMorris Rodgers on the House Energy and Commerce Committee and James Comer on the Oversight Committee say they have written TikTok over a staff briefing. The members say information provided in that briefing about tracking U.S. user locations from TikTok appears to be untrue or misleading. Republicans take control of the House in January, and that could force tighter scrutiny. TikTok is owned by ByteDance, which is headquartered in China. A federal judge has told Amazon to stop retaliating against employees for practicing union organizing. The judge issued a cease and desist, directing the company to not retaliate against employees involved in workplace activism. The ruling is in response to a lawsuit by the National Labor Relations Board. The board claims Amazon fired an employee for attempting to organize a warehouse in New York. The judge says there was reasonable cause the company was carrying out unfair labor practices, but declined the board's request to reinstate the former employee. Your complete holiday forecast is next, plus this.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Temperatures have made some big improvements over this week. It is showing that southerly wind can still do a lot this time of the year. Now, looking at our high temperatures over the past 5 days, we did see temperatures fall into those lower 30s on Sunday, but we made those improvements back up into the 50s, and we topped off at 50 degrees for our Tuesday as well as today. And there's still some more mild air on the way for the area. Now, we'll start off our Thanksgiving morning with temperatures just around those upper 20s, so a little chill in the air, but where we should be at this time of the year. And we'll be under some clear skies, which is going to give us a very pleasant turkey day with mild temperatures to persist. Now, there will be some changes ahead. What we're going to be detailing is that when it comes to hitting the roadways and that pavement locally, we have clear conditions. But if you are looking for the potential of maybe seeing delays that could occur on travel day of Turkey Day, there is going to be some showers and thunderstorms across more southern portions of the states, which includes portions of Texas running into the the southeast, and then that rain is going to be on the way for the region, where we'll expect rain showers to come into our Friday morning. So if you plan to do some of that shopping on Friday in person, you may want to bring that umbrella to run in and out of those stores, but not going to be a washout. That's the good news. Shouldn't cause too many hazards, but we will be detailing some breezy conditions in place with that passing frontal system, and then there will be more active weather that will be ushering us through the end of the month, which we will round off November next week on Wednesday. So running into our Thanksgiving holiday, though, we'll note that the beginning of the day, maybe you have any of those turkey trots or runs to get to, we note that we have some beautiful sky conditions, and then we'll have those temperatures within those 50s by the afternoon, like we've been seeing over the last few days. So as we top off just around 53, we are about 5 to 10 degrees above that average of 45, 52 in New England to Westfield around 50 degrees. Stepping into that Friday forecast, temperatures do pull back. You see more widespread 40s, which that's still seasonal for this time of the year. It will feel gloomy and cooler due to overcast skies persisting through much of the day, some rain showers to start the day, and then a little breezy into the afternoon. The good news is it's not a washout forecast. Again, getting outdoors is still going to be a possibility as we see that our accumulations are just about a few hundredths of an inch up to about a tenth of an inch. So a little bit of dosing of some rainfall, but there is more to add on top of this through our weekend forecast. And it's going to come with another system coming on Sunday. So you see these quick switches in the wind pattern, noting that we have several systems moving on through. So as we get under that southerly wind again on Sunday, that is going to be our next low pressure system that will bring some stronger wind gusts compared to the system that we're seeing on Friday, but it's going to accompany with it some more of those heavier rain showers possible that will spread into that Monday forecast. However, it does keep temperatures still fairly mild, even with some quickly returning sunshine on Tuesday, but the active weather persists as that last day of November does include more showers as well as those mild temps.
Economists say this Thanksgiving is one of the most expensive on record, and many are turning to food banks and pantries for their Thanksgiving meals. Madison Allworth has more from New York.
For many Americans across the country, this Thanksgiving would not be possible without the help of food banks like the one behind me. And some of those people getting help are doing so for the first time. Here at the Food Bank for New York City, they've seen a 93% increase in first-time visitors. And it's not just recipients that are struggling. Feeding America, one of the largest food bank networks in the country, say that some of their locations are busier today than they were during the economic shutdown in the 2020 pandemic. And at the same time, a near majority are running on a budget deficit because of soaring costs. And you can see why. At the grocery store, all of the Thanksgiving table staples are up in cost. One of the most important, turkey, up over 20% from last year. That's why some, for the first time, are coming here for their bird rather than buying it from the store.
Things are short and very expensive, and there are certain items that I wasn't able to get, so hopefully I'll get them in this bag.
And while need has increased, donations have of course been impacted as well, because everyone is feeling the heat of high inflation. But that's not stopping the food bank from providing meals for those in need. This location expecting to give out 800 meals to families that otherwise would not have been able to celebrate in the same way. In Harlem, New York, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
Inflation has hit Christmas tree growers hard this year, and growers say large increases for diesel fuel and fertilizer may impact how much you pay. One grower says diesel fuel is more than double. The grower says fueling just one tractor can cost several $100s. Fertilizer for growing trees is also double this year. A drought in 2012 that hit in growing season also made for smaller trees. Christmas trees may take 10 years to grow. Children's clothing items are being recalled for a possible poisoning hazard. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says ink used to make Bentex children's clothing sets with popular Disney characters contain levels of lead that exceed the federal lead paint ban. So far, there are no reports of injuries. The affected clothing includes classic Mickey and Minnie and Winnie the Pooh to more modern Star Wars characters. The sets were sold at TJ Maxx, Burlington, on Amazon, and other retailers. Cruises are back after the industry was nearly crippled by the COVID-19 pandemic, and experts say now may be the best time to find a deal. Linda Schmidt explains.
We are coming from the Bahamas. How was the trip?
Great. It was awesome. A wonderful experience.
I was happy to be out, finally have a good time, and to be around people.
Cruises are back after the pandemic nearly crippled the industry. folks are really flocking back to cruising in a big way.
The largest cruise port is in Miami, the cruise capital of the world.
We have all of our cruise terminals full. We can be pushing up to 70,000 passengers in and out in one day.
They're very popular right now, especially given the shaky economy that we're in. You pay one price, you get all your meals, and if you choose the right plan, you get your drinks too.
It's where you can find the most deals.
Clint Henderson is known as the Points Guy. It is a travel website. He says the cruise industry has been the slowest to recover since the pandemic. So if you are looking for a deal, now is the time.
You're looking at saving anywhere from 30 to 50% by taking a cruise over a traditional resort vacation. So we're really starting to see things bounce back.
But he says you only have a few months left to cash in.
The cruise industry analysts that we talk to think that we're going to see a full recovery of the cruise industry by springtime.
Happy travels. Linda Schmidt, Fox 5 News.
The U.S. Postal Service is preparing for this year's Operation Santa, how you can give to those in need this holiday season. Stay with us. The U.S. Postal Service is gearing up for its Operation Santa program, which allows kids or parents in need to send letters to Santa with whatever their Christmas wish is. Danny Maston has more.
Operation Santa is an online platform through USPS that allows families in need to send a letter to Santa asking for a Christmas gift.
This program has been around for 110 years, so it's a labor of love that we've been able to offer to the community.
From anywhere in the United States, people can write a letter with their gift request on the USPS Operation Santa website, and adoptees pick the letter that stands out to them the most. The process is pretty simple. Once you adopt a letter, you package up the gift and take it to your local USPS office to drop it off.
You'll never know the last name of the child, you'll never know their address, but you will know that you're making a difference in someone's life.
Communications specialist with the U.S. Postal Service tells me they could see a big need for this service this year, especially due to inflation.
I know that economic times, the way they are challenging this year. And because of that, we could see an increase in USPS OperationSanta.com letters.
There are some deadlines and tips to be aware of. Make sure you have your full return address when sending the letter. For letter writers, it is recommended that you send the letter no later than December 12th. To adopt letters, the deadline is December 19th. Spurgeon tells me there are alternative options for bigger gift requests.
If you're an adopter and you see that and they're saying, I want a gigantic dollhouse for Christmas, you might not be able to mail that, but you can mail a gift card.
We'd like to get this check with $1,400. Oh my
God. A waitress in New Jersey has a lot to be thankful for this Thanksgiving holiday. This after she was handed a $1,500 tip from members of the Roxbury Rotary Club. The club says the waitress, named Natalie, works at the Roxbury Diner. To show their appreciation for her hard work, members of the club chipped in to give her the nice tip. The waitress, needless to say, was surprised and grateful for the huge act of kindness. Thanksgiving is a time for friends and family to gather, and in Arizona, one particular story has grabbed the hearts of millions every year. A text message sent to the wrong number about holiday plans is even grabbing attention over at Netflix. Linda Williams has the latest on the Thanksgiving mix-up tradition.
This has your signature all over the crust.
Something like it. Bam!
Family shenanigans while baking pumpkin pie on the day before Thanksgiving. This family, however, was created by a happy accident that happened 6 years ago. That's when Wanda Dench messaged her grandson about Thanksgiving plans. Jamal Hinton, who was 17 years old at the time, actually got that message. After establishing the mix-up, the Mesa grandma invited him to their Thanksgiving gathering anyhow. And Jamal, who was in high school at the time, decided to go to the holiday celebration, though he didn't know anyone there.
I guess I kind of still am an outgoing person, but I always try to make the most out of every interaction that I go through.
My husband and I are really friendly people. We just wrapped our arms around him and brought him in.
never occurred to me. He told me later he was nervous about coming to my house, and I'm like, well, what's there to be nervous about, you know? But he didn't know me either, so he didn't know if we were some crazy white people, is what he said.
I didn't say those words.
Yes, you did.
I did not say those words.
This was Jamal's first Thanksgiving with the Denches back in 2016. They've kept up the tradition every year and are making pumpkin pies ahead of this Thanksgiving feast. Wanda's husband Lonnie passed away in 2020 from COVID complications, but she says she knows he is thrilled they have kept the tradition that came from the Thanksgiving mix-up going.
Well, my husband's very, very proud. He adored Jamal and his girlfriend Michaela, which I do too. He just knew that Jamal was special. My husband could meet somebody and he just knew if they were an angel on earth.
The two couldn't say much about their story grabbing the attention of movie producers at Netflix, but stay tuned. We hear there is a movie in the works about their Thanksgiving mix-up. Linda Williams, Fox 10 News.
Stay with us. More news after the break. We want to leave you with a smile. Take a break from that turkey for a second and feast your eyes on this. Amazing gingerbread houses. The National Gingerbread Competition has just finished up its annual competition in Asheville, North Carolina. Competition entries were evaluated on criteria including originality, creativity, and difficulty. More than 200 houses were entered into the competition. Contestants had a chance to win a portion of $40,000 in cash and prizes. The question, though, is, were those gingerbread houses too good looking to eat? Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day.